Hello and welcome back to Firstpost Live, where we bring you the day's top stories from across the world. I'm Joshua Barnes, live from the Firstpost studios. Let's begin with the headlines. Australia will export uranium to India for peaceful use in a bid to boost New Delhi's clean energy ambitions. The deal was announced after talks between Prime Ministers Narendra Modi and Anthony Albanese. South Korea's Supreme Court has upheld former President Yoon Suk-yeol's 7-year prison sentence linked to his failed 2024 martial law imposition. In a televised ruling, the court dismissed all appeals, making the conviction final. New Zealand may join a defence alliance with Australia and Fiji. PM Christopher Luxon says the pact includes mutual defence commitments and comes amid China's growing regional influence. Tragedy strikes Bangladesh's Rohingya refugee camps, with heavy monsoon rains triggering a landslide that has buried a school, killing 8 children and injuring 5 others. Rescue teams managed to save 13 children from the debris. And Justin Bieber will officially join Madonna, Shakira and BTS for the first ever World Cup final halftime show. The performance will take place on July 19th at the New York, New Jersey Stadium. We begin this hour with a major escalation in West Asia. The United States and Iran have now entered a second straight day of direct military exchanges, with Washington expanding its campaign against Iranian targets, especially near the Strait of Hormuz. American officials say the campaign is designed to stop Iran from threatening commercial shipping after a series of alleged attacks on merchant vessels transiting the waterway. The latest US operation was larger in scale than Tuesday's strikes. Reports suggest American cruise missiles targeted 2 railway bridges in northeastern Iran, marking the first US strikes on Iranian infrastructure since the April 8th ceasefire. Washington also targeted Iranian coastal radars, anti-ship missile positions and air defense systems in an attempt to weaken Tehran's ability to operate along the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian state media reported explosions in Bandar Abbas, Sirik, Chabahar, Lavan Island and other locations overlooking this strategic waterway. US Central Command said its forces are conducting additional strikes to further degrade Iran's capability to target commercial vessels. CENTCOM said they struck a total of 90 targets across Iran, and US Vice President J.D. Vance has warned of further attacks if Iran targets commercial shipping in the Hormuz.
Now, they were good, they were well behaved for about a week, but then they started shooting at ships. So the deal is very simple. If they shoot at ships, we're going to knock the hell out of them, and it's that simple, and that's the basic way it's going to work.
Well, Iran, meanwhile, has said its retaliation was underway across the Gulf. Kuwait said its air defences were activated to confront hostile missiles and drones, while in neighbouring Bahrain and Qatar, air raid sirens sounded as authorities issued alerts to residents. Iran has warned the US against threatening it with force.
America still hasn't learned that bullying and breaking promises are no longer cost-free. Let me put it plainly. If you strike, you'll get hit. Don't flail around pointlessly, or you'll sink even deeper. The Strait of Hormuz will only open with Iranian arrangements, not American threats.
Well, Iran has also denounced yesterday's expletive-filled remarks by US President Donald Trump, in which he claimed that the ceasefire with Tehran is now over.
Addressing the civilized and courageous nation of Iran with derogatory language does not diminish its greatness. Iranians are known for their civility, culture, and strong moral values. We do not answer vulgarity with vulgarity, but with action, fearlessly, and with great valor.
However, Donald Trump until now continues to defend the military operation. And after a second night of strikes, the US president says Iran now wants to negotiate.
We have many ways we can win, but we've already won militarily. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago, they want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
Well, the remark suggests that despite the exchange of missiles, channels of communication may still remain open. But the suggestion of diplomacy was quickly followed by a fresh warning. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said that if Iran targets commercial shipping again, the US response will get much worse. The exchange of strikes has now become the most serious confrontation since the two sides agreed to a 60-day ceasefire memorandum last month. While diplomatic contacts may still exist, the military tempo continues to rise. As the exchange of strikes continues, it is the Strait of Hormuz that once again stands at the heart of a crisis, with consequences for energy markets, global shipping, and regional security. US President Donald Trump is once again at the centre of a massive public storm following a series of unexpected verbal stumbles. While these high-stakes international gatherings are designed to showcase global stability and alliance strength, the spotlight shifted unexpectedly when the president confused one of America's strongest East Asian allies with a West Asian adversary. This incident has immediately reignited debates across the globe concerning the health, age and verbal patterns of the US leader. While addressing reporters and intending to recount a severe regional missile conflict involving the USS Abraham Lincoln carrier, the president inadvertently named Tokyo instead of Tehran. He explicitly stated that the Islamic Republic of Japan shot over 100 missiles at the US warship. Japan, which has been a pillar of American alliance since the end of World War II, was mentioned in the place of Iran.
I was saying we have an aircraft carrier, which is one of the most beautiful in the world. It's one of the biggest, the Abraham Lincoln. And 2 months ago, we had 100, I told this story yesterday, we had 111 missiles shot by the Islamic Republic of Japan. They were shot at the aircraft carrier over a period of about 1 hour. 111 missiles going to a very expensive ship, and every one of those missiles was knocked down.
But this was far from the only verbal misstep during the Marathon Summit environment. Earlier, Trump pointed towards Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and accidentally introduced him as President Putin to a roomful of stunned journalists. While Trump's tongue slips provoked speculation, it was a humorous, comedic interaction with the Ukrainian president that gained social media traction as well. During a press interaction, Trump wondered aloud whether Zelensky would ever consider traveling to the Russian capital. Zelensky's response had everyone in splits.
President Putin said, I would love to meet in Moscow. And I said, I don't think, I have to put myself in his position. I don't know that he'd go to Moscow. Maybe he would. Would you go to Moscow?
It's difficult. There are a lot of Ukrainian drones there. That's right. It's dangerous for him.
He doesn't want to be hit by a drone.
Furthermore, the president stumbled over popular culture and complex policy terms. He mispronounced the Obama-era JCPOA nuclear accord as JCPOC. Trump also claimed he was the #1 influencer on the social media platform TikTok, except he concurrently called the app Tic-Tac multiple times in his remarks.
Nice, it's a very dangerous term. So I do talk about it, and I talk about it on TikTok, and I talk about it everywhere. I talk about it here.
Well, these repeated gaffes have led to continued questions about the US president's health and fitness for office. As the oldest person to serve as a US president, every public appearance, every verbal misstep, and every visible health-related observation has drawn close scrutiny. His critics have pointed to some of these incidents to raise concerns about his cognitive and physical fitness. However, the White House continues to aggressively reject these claims. The official account emphasises that the president commanded every single room with incredible energy, leaving the NATO alliance more united and secure. Medical officials at Walter Reed also backed this narrative, reporting in May that the president remains in excellent neurological and cardiac health despite an increase in weight. From referring to Iran as the Islamic Republic of Japan to momentarily mixing up Volodymyr Zelensky and Vladimir Putin, and even calling TikTok Tic-Tac, the president's remarks have triggered fresh questions, sharp political reactions, and intense online debates. President Donald Trump made a surprise decision leaving Turkey, ditching his brand new Qatari-gifted plane for an older Air Force One instead. The sudden swap is raising fresh questions about the security of his newly retrofitted aircraft as tensions with Iran escalate. Now, the aircraft that the US president used to depart was the VC-25A that served former leaders for over 3.5 decades. And he left behind the sleek red, white and navy blue aircraft that had arrived just a few days earlier. The president then explained the reason for the switch on Truth Social.
It's flying to Europe, to one of the big bases, 2 or 3 of the big bases where we can show it to the people, and we'll be going home by normal methods. But we have it going to Europe, to a couple of bases, actually one in particular, but it's going to go to a couple of bases, stop, so the soldiers can see it because it's truly magnificent.
Well, aboard the vintage Air Force One, Trump flew from Turkey's to Britain's Royal Air Force Mildenhall base. He then boarded the new Qatar-gifted plane at the base before heading home to Washington. The New York Times reported that the US Secret Service requested the swap as a security precaution. The agency cited the fact that this new plane lacked some capabilities of the older jets. When asked directly about threats from Iran, Trump avoided giving a straight answer. Reporters were also told to keep window shades closed during takeoff from Turkey without explanation.
Yeah, because you're, probably on a dangerous flight. These are sick people. Well, I have a threat all the time. I'm number 1 on their list before you. But if I go, you go, right?
But was there a specific
perhaps someday you want to change professions.
Well, Qatar's royal family gifted Trump a Boeing 747-800 last year after he criticised the condition of the ageing Air Force One fleet. The older presidential aircraft has been flying since 1990. The new jet was quickly retrofitted with security upgrades before making its first flight with Trump on July the 1st. The United States then spent about $400 million to modify the aircraft, including a fresh colour scheme that replaces the previous white and blue. However, images of the Qatari jet show it's not equipped with the same missile detection and countermeasure systems as the older aircraft. The Air Force previously acknowledged that it had to prioritise only some upgrades to deliver the plane into service quickly. Specialists say the absence of these defensive systems suggests the jet is better suited for domestic flights. However, the White House previously insisted that the aircraft is state-of-the-art with high-level security protocols. This plane switch happened just hours after the US military launched fresh strikes against Iran. They claim this was in retaliation for attacks on merchant shipping in the region. And geographically, Iran shares a border with Turkey, the country he was leaving from. The timing raised questions about whether security concerns specifically related to Iran's proximity influenced this decision. During the flight from Turkey, consumer flight trackers lost the signal from the older Air Force One's transponder shortly after takeoff, suggesting the crew temporarily disabled it, a tactic typically used only when transporting the president through war zones. Yet, the NATO summit was a long-scheduled event at a major allies' base. Other world leaders' planes departing that same day kept their transponders active, including those from Germany and the United Kingdom. While this Qatari jet serves as a temporary stopgap, Boeing is still working to deliver 2 purpose-built 747-8 aircraft under a $3.9 billion contract signed in 2018. Those planes are now expected to arrive in 2028 after a series of delays. The Trump administration has opened a major investigation into alleged H-1B visa fraud. Dozens of subpoenas have already been issued, and an Indian IT giant, Cognizant, has been named among the companies under scrutiny. The developments are being watched very closely in India. However, no findings of wrongdoing have been announced, and the probe is expected to determine whether there were any violations of US immigration or labour rules. The investigation is part of a broader campaign led by Vice President J.D. Vance under what the administration calls its task force to eliminate fraud. Speaking at an event in Milwaukee, Vance said the government wants to ensure that American jobs go to American workers.
Big corporations and fraudsters overseas are using this program to undercut the wages of American workers. If you are trying to take advantage of that visa program, you are not allowed into the United States.
Well, the US Vice President revealed that the US Department of Labor has opened multiple investigations into suspected cases of visa fraud, adding that companies found to be abusing the program would face action.
Here's a simple principle, ladies and gentlemen. American jobs ought to go to American workers and not foreign fraudsters, and the Department of Labor is fighting back against it.
Now, these allegations go beyond just paperwork. Investigators have reportedly identified schemes where employers and labour brokers are suspected of submitting false applications. They are also accused of forcing foreign workers into wage kickback arrangements and using cheaper foreign labour in ways that could harm the job prospects of American workers. The agency says such practices undermine programs that are meant to address genuine shortages of skilled workers. And officials specifically mentioned Cognizant as one of the companies that has come up during those discussions.
We've already started to issue dozens of subpoenas. We are going to make sure that we track down every lead. We have whistleblowers talking about some of the biggest companies like Cognizant who have been sort of, in the chatter of issues with PERM and H-1B visas.
Well, the US government currently limits most private employers to 65,000 new H-1B visas each year. Another 20,000 visas are available for applicants who have earned advanced degrees from US universities. The program has become a key pathway for global talent, especially in the technology, engineering, healthcare and finance sectors. For India, this issue carries special importance. Indian professionals consistently make up the largest group of H-1B visa holders. Indian IT service companies have also relied on the program to send skilled employees to client projects in the United States. That is why any change in the way the H-1B system is enforced can have a direct impact on India's technology industry. Experts say the investigation could result in much stricter compliance requirements. Companies may face more audits. They could see greater scrutiny of documents, client contracts, job descriptions, salary records, and work locations. There could also be more site inspections, with officials checking whether visa holders are actually doing the jobs described in their applications. For applicants, that could mean longer wait times, more paperwork, and greater uncertainty. Well, while the investigation is still at an early stage, its outcome could have far-reaching consequences for employers, skilled foreign professionals, and the future of the H-1B visa system. A convicted child rapist found guilty of abusing girls as young as 12 is now at the centre of a diplomatic standoff between the United Kingdom and Pakistan. The man at the heart of this row is 73-year-old Shabir Ahmed. Ahmed was one of the ringleaders of the infamous Rochdale grooming gang. In 2012, he was jailed for 22 years after being convicted of 30 child sex offences. After his conviction, the UK stripped him of his British citizenship. Ahmed was recently released from prison after serving parts of his sentence, and the British government has started looking for ways to deport him to Pakistan. But it has proven far more complicated than expected. Under Britain's Immigration Act of 1971, certain migrants from erstwhile colonies who arrived in the UK before 1973 cannot easily be removed even after losing their British nationality. That legal protection has left London looking for a way to send Ahmed to Pakistan. And that is where the deportation negotiations with Pakistan took an unexpected turn. According to reports, Pakistan has told Britain that if London wants Islamabad to accept Ahmed, it must also address Pakistan's own concerns. Those concerns are about Pakistanis living in exile in the United Kingdom. Islamabad has reportedly asked Britain to extradite several dissidents, including former Prime Minister Imran Khan's aide Shahzad Akbar, journalist and former military officer Adil Raja, and has once again raised the case of MQM's Altaf Hussain, who has lived in London for decades. Pakistan accuses them of spreading anti-state propaganda, inciting unrest and targeting the country's political and military establishment, including Army Chief Asim Munir. They remain in the UK, where British authorities have so far declined to extradite them. Now, a senior Pakistani official told The Telegraph that Britain cannot expect cooperation while ignoring Pakistan's security concerns. The official accused the UK of applying double standards, saying Britain defends these activists under the principles of human rights and free speech, while pressuring Pakistan to accept a man who has spent more than 60 years living in Britain. The official also claimed that London has privately warned that Pakistan could face visa restrictions or even reductions in British aid if it refuses to take Ahmed back. Pakistan has already accepted the return of 2 convicted Rochdale groomers, Hamid Safi and Mohammed Sajid. But it's not ready to accept the return of Shabir Ahmed. The UK government is now considering changing its own immigration law to remove the legal barriers that prevent his deportation. Officials are also reportedly examining possible visa sanctions against Pakistan, although that remains a last resort. Well, for now, the negotiations continue behind closed doors, but at the centre of this standoff is a man convicted of some of the most horrific child sex crimes. The question remains, should justice for child abuse victims ever be negotiated alongside political extradition? And Taylor Swift's wedding to Travis Kelce was exclusive, but fans found a way in. They are buying literal garbage collected outside the venue for up to $25 a piece. Yes, you heard that right. Trash is up for sale. Cigarette butts, bottle caps, straws, even an ovulation test kit. These are some of the items being packaged and sold to Taylor Swift fans who didn't make the guest list. They are coming from the ground outside Madison Square Garden, where the couple exchanged vows on July the 3rd.
I think it's very beautiful. I think that two people, getting together that love each other, two artists, two legacies, fell in love, and and it's just a beautiful thing.
Well, every viral story has someone behind it. This one belongs to Justin Gignac. The New York-based artist who runs the project New York City Garbage arrived outside the venue in a tuxedo with a litter picker. He personally gathered the items. They were later packaged in clear display cubes featuring a just-married wedding stamp with the ceremony date. The design matched the electronic billboards that were lit up outside Madison Square Garden after the wedding. The box included a lone AirPod, a ring pop, pieces of a rainbow fan and utensils. Gignac tied some items in knots to emphasise the wedding theme and marketed it under the title NYC Pocket Garbage Not Invited Edition. Gignac priced the trash boxes at $25 each. But that's not all. One seller listed a bag of air allegedly collected inside Madison Square Garden during the wedding for nearly $50,000. As strange as it sounds, the listing drew more than 200 views. It may sound hard to believe, but there was no shortage of interest. According to Gignac's website, every box of the wedding garbage has now been sold. Inside the garden, Swift and Kelce exchanged personal vows in front of more than 1,000 guests. The bride's vows even included songs, and attendees described Travis as the one who got more emotional.
I knew that she was going to get married in New York, but I had no idea where. So I can't believe it. I'm actually shook, and I'm so excited. That has to happen.
Are you a fan?
Yes, huge fan. I love Taylor Swift.
Why?
I need to see her. Oh, she's iconic. Her songs are so good. She's such a great person. She's beautiful. She's literally my idol. I need to see her.
Well, inside Madison Square Garden, there was nothing low-key about the celebration. The star-studded guest list included Jennifer Lopez, Simone Biles and Gigi Hadid, making it one of the biggest celebrity gatherings of the year so far. But Swift and Kelce chose to break with tradition. Instead of having normal bridesmaids and groomsmen, Taylor's brother, Austin, served as her man of honour, while Travis's brother, Jason Kelce, stood beside him as the best man. And the ceremony was officiated by comedian Adam Sandler. Attendees played games throughout the evening to earn raffle tickets. The stakes also included Cartier watches, designer handbags from luxury brands, and a 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle, the same model the couple drove on their first date. Now, this level of obsessive fan culture isn't new, and it's not exclusive to Swifties. In June of this year, actress Sydney Sweeney capitalised on exactly this phenomenon. She partnered with the natural body care brand to produce a limited edition soap infused with her actual bathwater, priced at around $8 per bar. 5,000 limited edition bathwater soaps sold out in seconds, with the website crashing due to the high demand. And unsurprisingly, people quickly began reselling them for thousands of dollars. The contrast is stark. Inside Madison Square Garden, guests competed for Cartier watches and luxury handbags. Outside, fans fought to buy cigarette butts for $25. It's a moment that captures the absurd power of celebrity culture, or even the trash becomes treasure. Well, that's all we have on the programme for now. We'll see you again at 3 o'clock. Until then, thanks for watching First Post Live.
The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefields to negotiation tables, from internet outrage to real-world injustice. The conversations everyone is having, and the ones they're avoiding. It's the same show, but this new year, First Post America gets a new look. I'm Kerry Johnston, and this is First Post America.